Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning as a lot of people get ready to head off to church, or depending on what time you're watching this, maybe coming back from church. Prepare to be attacked. Now, if you paid attention to what's going on, which it's kind of hard not to because it's in your face 24/7, we pretty much know what's going on politically in this country this year. Okay, there is going to be a presidential election, hopefully, this fall between genocide Joe Biden and Donald Trump. At this point, once Nikki Haley finally realizes what everybody else has known for 6 months, that she's not involved in it, we're going to come to a crossroads. And the battle on the internet, television, newspapers, the coffee shop, wherever, is going to be Donald Trump and Joe Biden at each other's throats, more than it is already. Now, you can tell that the Democrats are terrified, okay? Don't ever forget Barack Obama's quote, "Never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up," okay? He's completely effed up their New World Order, globalist, communist takeover. Good. The people in this country are starting to realize it too. If you look at the latest information we've got coming out in regards to public sentiment, the New York Times, the liberal, uber liberal New York Times published a poll yesterday, their poll, that Trump leads by 5 points over Biden. How hard was it for them to write that? You look at every single swing state, Trump leads. Some by nearly 10%. Okay. It's funny when you look at the primaries going on and how the Democrats think Michigan's such a stronghold. Go look at the numbers. Even with people voting for Nikki Haley, Donald Trump had 130,000 more votes in Michigan than Joe Biden did. And remember, those are open primaries. Anybody can vote for anybody. That's how Nikki Haley gets her votes. Okay. You look at Joe bleeding support. Hispanics, a traditional Democrat stronghold, now support Trump 46% to 40%. Obviously, the other 14% are undecided. They're panicking. So now it's time to start getting out the slanderous vitriol that Democrats love to use, okay? Typical Democrat. We're going to talk a big game up until the day of the election, and then after that, we'll forget about everything we said. Ask any black person what promises have been made to them and what promises were kept by Democrats. They'll give you a whole bunch in the first column. They'll be really struggling in the second one. Okay. But so, a new book was released. Now, of course, it's meant to completely attack conservatives, Christians, whites, people that don't bow down and kiss the feet of the DNC. Personally, if I was going to release a new book and go on a book tour to promote it, going on the 39th ranked cable news show probably wouldn't be there. I mean, I could probably get more viewership putting it on the Cartoon Network or Comedy Central than putting it on Morning Joe. But hey, Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, they, thank God for waiting rooms in doctors' offices and airport televisions. Otherwise, nobody'd watch them. But I want you to watch this real quick, and we're going to talk about this.
Joining us now, Professor of Political Science at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, Tom Schaller, and journalist and opinion writer Paul Waldman. Their new book, out tomorrow, is entitled White rural rage, the threat to American democracy. And Tom, we'll start with you. Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence as an acceptable alternative to peaceful public discourse.
So you mentioned a lot of negative factors about this demographic.
So how about that? White rural rage. You guys know me. I spent more than 50 years as a suburban resident of this country. Never lived in the big city per se. I lived in the suburbs until I moved out here in 2019 when I was 53 years old. Okay? A lot of people that live rurally have for their entire year or their entire life. After all, they're farmers. They're ranchers. They have family land that has been in their family for generations. Some people just like to live out in the country. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't all have to live in 15-minute cities, okay? But in that clip, we got the next level of what we are now to be called. That deplorables wasn't enough. Domestic terrorists wasn't enough. Joe this week calling us Neanderthals wasn't enough. No. We need to add a whole litany of more insults to throw toward conservative voters. Because remember, Joe was going to bring this country together, right? To add that to another in the long list of Joe's failures. Okay. So let's go through what these two morons think. That we are white rural people, racist. Yeah, okay. I don't seem to think of any country music songs, for example, using the N-word. Think of a lot of rap songs and hip-hop and everything like that do. Okay? Can't think of any country music artists that talk about killing cops, but, can think of a lot of rap songs, hip-hop songs that do. That's just an example. Would a Hispanic, a black, an Asian feel comfortable moving out in my area? Yeah. Would I be comfortable moving into the south side of Chicago? Probably not. Okay. Let's take a look at the gang violence in this country. Sure, there are a few white gangs. A whole lot more black, Hispanic, Asian, okay? MS-13, know that, okay? The Yakuza, we know that. The Bloods and the Crips, we know that, okay? Yeah, okay, got it. But white rural people, we're the ones that are racist. We're the ones that'll stop on the side of the road and see if you're okay when you've got a flat tire. We don't pull up to the car and go, is that a black person? Is that a Mexican? Is that a white person? Oh, that'll depend on whether I stop. No, we just stop, okay? I want you to look at this real quick, okay? This is a map of the most and least racially tolerant people in the world, okay? Not just the country, the world. First off, look at the United States. Dark blue, not politically, okay? one of the least racist countries in the world. Okay? Look at the most racist. That would be India. Look at where some of the other ones are that are pinks. Oh, that would be some Asian countries. Surprisingly, some African countries. What was the question asked there? Okay. If whether you would be offended if somebody from another race was one of your neighbors. Let me see if I got this straight. Europe is more racist than the United States. Mexico is more racist than the United States. Africa is more racist than the United States. Remind me again where all these people are coming from on the southern border right now. We're importing racism in our country. But it's the white rural rage that we have to worry about. Okay? We're xenophobic. We don't like foreigners. We don't like strangers. Well, I can kind of go right back to what I just said about stopping somebody on the side of the road with a car. Let me see, how xenophobic am I? I don't like foreigners. I don't like strangers. My wife is from freaking Russia. On this channel, you guys beg me for more information from Mrs. P, to see Mrs. P, to hear Mrs. P, for recipes from Mrs. P. Yeah, that sounds like you guys are really anti-foreigner. A Russian, of all things, you know? Guess that kind of blows that one up. You know, we could look at how many of us talk about going to Mexican restaurants, Chinese restaurants. You go to San Francisco. Where's one of the places you want to tour? Before, of course, it turned into a shithole and you had to step over shit to go there. What was one of the big tourist attractions in San Francisco? Chinatown. Wow. Amazing. Okay. The next comment they made, we're anti-immigrant. No, jackass. We're anti-illegal alien. You can pretty much ask any conservative, and they're fine with immigration. We need immigration. There's no question. Okay? The birth rate in this country is below sustainability. We need immigrants. As the country, technology gets better, business gets better, et cetera, we need people. We need to keep the population going. Okay? We just don't want illegal immigrants. Big difference. We're anti-gay. No, we're not. Okay? You want to be gay, lesbian, whatever, bisexual, I don't care. Okay? We just don't want it shoved down our throat that every time we turn on the TV, we've got to see a gay family as representative of the United States. Remember the TV show Modern Family? You know, Ed O'Neill, Sofia Vergara, that whole group. That is about the least modern family that you can imagine. Gee, let's see. We've got an old man. We've got a cougar who's Colombian. We've got the gay son. You know, that's about as the least representative of the United States that you can possibly get. The majority of families in the United States are in rural areas, straight white. Sorry, it's just because Hispanics and blacks don't want to come out and move out to the country. Nothing wrong with that. They just don't want to. Okay, but this is it. If somebody's gay, fine, be gay. That's your choice. Okay, just don't condemn the rest of us because we're not. Okay, don't try to tell me that a man in a dress is a woman. They're not. Okay, sorry. Science proves that, and we'll get to that one here in a second. We are the most conspiracist group. Well, they're conspiracies until they turn into facts, right? Okay, you know, all the conspiracies over, oh, I don't know, let's think about this. JFK's assassination. Now that all those documents are being released, amazing. You know, we're finding out that there was something in the background. Why do we believe in what they call conspiracies? Because they don't want us to know the truth. That's the thing. You know, conspiracies aren't necessarily wrong. They're people questioning and not trusting the answers they're given. That's healthy. Okay, I'll tell you that. The next one, QAnon supporters and subscribers. I will tell you this. In my life, I have never met a QAnon person. I've never met a QAnon supporter. I've never met a skinhead. I've never met a neo-Nazi. Do I deny they exist? No, they're out there. But they're so teeny tiny, okay, that it's unimportant. I've met Black Lives Matter supporters. I've met Antifa supporters. But funny, the ones that actually commit acts of violence, kill people, burn down cities, no, those are the good guys. The ones who question the BS that we're told, we're the bad guys, right? Election denialism is the next one. I don't know. The facts kind of prove it. I mean, and I can rattle these off to you real quick. Just go watch 2,000 Mules. There's video of it, okay? Joe Biden supposedly got 15 million more votes than Barack Obama. I believe that, right, okay? You have people that voted just for Barack Obama. And most people, most of you can probably tell you know somebody. People that said they voted for Obama to be the first black president because they wanted to be part of history. Did anybody go, I want to vote for Joe Biden because I want to get the first senile president in there and I want to be part of history? You know, y'all know how the graph went. Doink! You know, that at 3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden truckloads of ballots came in. Those are facts. There's pictures of it, okay? Not photoshopped, video of it. Yes, Biden did not win in 2020. No question. Okay. COVID denialism instead of scientific skepticism. Oh, we had a lot of scientific skepticism, okay? We mentioned over and over and over again about the issues with what was forced upon us, okay? We never denied COVID existed. We agreed there. We also told you, told them, okay, that where the origins came from, that this was a bioweapon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, this goes back into what they were talking about or what I was talking about before, and, you know, we need to believe in science. Yeah, we did. Not the science fiction that they were trying to push on us, okay? Yeah. Guess what? You ain't seeing a whole lot of stories about rural Americans dropping dead from myocarditis, are you? No. The next one was complete bullshit. They don't believe in an independent press and free speech. Really? Okay. Ask Catherine Herridge about this one. Okay. She's being held in contempt of court for not divulging a source. Conservatives support her. The liberals are demanding that she gives up her sources. Who's not supporting free speech? Let's talk about January 6th and that being peaceful. Okay. Remember, the only person that died on January 6th was one of the peaceful protesters that was killed by a cop. Then let's talk about all the mostly peaceful protests in Seattle and in Portland a couple of years ago. Okay. Let's talk about the censorship on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere, all these liberal-run platforms. You don't see them censoring Biden supporters. But God knows, y'all know how many times I've been censored here constantly. Most strongly white Christian nationalists. Yeah, white people move out to the country because we want peace and quiet. We don't want crime. We don't want gang activity. We don't want shootings throughout the night. We don't want the drugs. We got them anyway, okay? Just, we don't have the dealers like you have on the street corner, okay? G, rural people have a higher tendency of having religious beliefs, believing in a higher power, not believing that the government is going to take care of everything. Yeah, that we believe that God's law is superior to man's law. The liberals will scream about that one, that no, man makes the decisions. Okay, doesn't work that way. These two morons are going to peddle this book. It'll be funny to see how it shows up. If it's like a Rob Reiner movie and is a complete flop, or if it's pushed so hard by Jeff Bezos that it winds up on an Amazon bestsellers list. Okay, I can pretty much bet you that there's nobody in rural America who's going to buy this book. And unless you put it next to the Air Jordans, it ain't going to get stolen out of the latest riots in a city. Okay. We're going to hear a lot more about this. We're going to be demonized this year, badly. Be prepared to hear all this crap wherever you go. We're already hearing a lot of it. We're terrible people because we're white. No different than somebody's a terrible person because they're black, or because they're Asian, or because they're Hispanic, or because they're Indian. No. Your actions determine whether or not you are a good person or a bad person. But in the eyes of the democratic machine, if you don't agree with them, if that isn't your action, therefore you're a bad person. I'm sorry, but me for one, I'm never going to agree with somebody whose interests are completely self-serving and doesn't think about the rest of mankind. Don't give me this climate change crap. They're not thinking about saving the planet. They're figuring out how they can milk money from you. Oh, we've got to all have electric vehicles. It's already been proven that man contributes to the climate less than 1/100th of 1% at our actions. Okay, that's scientific fact. You buying an electric car is not going to do anything to save the planet. It will just do something to make them wealthier. When people stop, wake up, and realize that the scumbags of the earth are people like these two, maybe we'll turn this country around. And it seems to me like the people are finally waking up. Pinball out.